Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you a tour of my sewing room. So I started filming this video, about 10 days ago now I think, and I finally got round to finishing it. It's been a lot of hard work. As you will see from the before video, it really just wasn't a functional room. It needed a lot of work doing, and I think I've finally got a functional space that's actually going to work for me. So my plans changed from the time that I did the sort of before video. They just continued to change the whole way throughout. I kept adapting what I was going to do with the room, and it's actually turned out that we've reorganised the whole of upstairs of our house, which has taken a really long time because obviously we've only been able to do it sort of evenings and weekends. But yeah, I think I'm finally happy with where we're at with the room, and now I just need to test it out essentially and check that it works for me. Some of the storage boxes, I've got in there what I'm going to store in there, but those actual boxes aren't organised within themselves. I need to organise them into sort of different categories and things like that just for easier access. But yeah, otherwise I'm going to insert a clip now of the before, and I think I might do a voiceover just to explain to you what the intention is. I did a couple of clips of the during, and then I didn't film the whole process because I thought, one, it's going to be really long, and two, I kept changing my mind. And when we were getting time to reorganise it, it was just a case of I just needed to get on with it. I didn't necessarily have enough time to film, but obviously I'm going to film a full after for you with a tour. So I hope that you enjoy that, and hopefully it gives you some inspiration as to what you can do to organise your sewing room and that sort of thing. So yeah, hope you like it. Let's head in. Okay, so this is what I have currently. It is a mess, so please excuse. But this is what I class as my sewing room, even though I don't technically sew in here really. I class it as my sewing room because all of my storage is in here. So these bits and pieces on the floor are either stuff that I've been going through recently to look for new projects, or recent stuff that I've bought, or clothes that we've sorted out that I'm going to turn into something new, old bedding that I'm going to turn into something new. IKEA Kallax unit. I think possibly 99.9% of all sewists have a Kallax unit for some form of storage of their stuff. This up here, again, there's a dress that my mum gave me to see if I can do anything with. Pair of jeans that I'm gonna do something new with, again, like upcycle. A dress, remnants of my sister's new caravan curtains, so they're the leftover bits. A handbag that I did have on a hook up there and it's fallen down, so I need to do something with those because I would like them to hang up. In here is all of my sort of fabrics and crafty bits, so I'm going to sort those out. Junk really. Some of my old nail kit. I am a qualified nail tech, I just don't do it as a job. Tumble dryer, which I've put in here so that I didn't use it this year, obviously because of cost of living, and I haven't used it, so that's really good. This side over here, whoa, but this is basically my dressing room area. So this is our sort of spare storage space separate to the wardrobe that we have. So it's sort of jackets, coats, that sort of thing. Shoe storage, which has actually broken and started to fall apart, as you can see there. So I've ordered something new. I'm going to sort these shoes out. I'm going to put away my winter boots and hopefully have something that looks better than that. Then I've got my spare socks that I can't find the matching pair for currently, so I'm waiting for the rest of the washing to be done. Very dirty mirror. And then these are my clothes in here. But yeah, so this room all needs sorting out. But I'm going to go through what's in here, new sewing purchases, all of that sort of stuff. I'm going to go through it, completely reorganise it, and make this a really functional space, as functional as I can. So yeah, join me for the process. Okay, so going through these boxes, that one's not mine, so I'm going to leave it. There's some clay making bits in here, a ring light and remnants of a sewing pattern. These are so unorganised. I've got some mini storage trays, some old foldable shelf brackets, and a toothbrush plug by the looks of it. So an old sewing project, gouache, sewing patterns that desperately need a sort through. These are all new ones that haven't looked at yet. Some paper and some me-made patterns. In here I've got my niece and nephew's memory blankets that are always a work in progress. In here is the bulk of my sewing patterns, as you can see, just not practical storage. In here are the, ignore that dress because that's just a dress that I need to amend. This is what I mean, it's just so unorganised. But these are my nephew's old clothes that need to be added to his memory basket. So that row there, the grey boxes, they do need sorting, but they're not mine. They're my other half, sort of books and things like that. That box is empty. That box is pretty much empty. I've just got my vitamins in there and some spray adhesive randomly. So I need to sort through those. I've got my lash kit because I am also a qualified lash tech. Again, I just don't do it currently. So I need to give that a good clean by the looks of it and sort it out. Embroidery hoops and a couple of crochet needles. And then in here, this is actually a really useful box to have. It's all things like boxes, packaging envelopes, tissue paper, packing tape. So if we've ever got a parcel to send, we just go straight to that box and it's really useful. So these are bits that I bought off a lady who's moving house, and she used to do sewing lessons and our sewing social that I used to go to. So she was getting rid of tons of stuff because she's downsizing. But yeah, so I've brought all of those bits in there. I will go through that at some point. And then these bags she was just giving to everybody that went. They're just a bag of complete scraps. So I picked that up more for my niece because she's recently got into sewing and it'll be useful for her to just make little bits and pieces with. Old bedding, old shirts that I'm going to repurpose, and some double gauze that I'm going to make into a project. Up here in this drawer I've got old ribbons, some bandanas that I half made, a plug for something, glue gun stand. As you can see, it is so unorganised. In the next drawer I've got my old Cricut stuff, so some vinyl, random scrunchie, gosh it's really bad. This is my fabric drawer and this is primarily my actual fabric stash, so I don't think I've got a lot in comparison, but this is just stuff that I've organised, so I probably have a lot more that is just thrown in a corner apparently. But yeah, got some really nice stuff, some sweatshirting type stuff, that's a stretchy knit, that's for shirt fabric, more stretchy sort of sweatshirt stuff, and then some pretty stuff for summer. This is nice, this is stretchy, and I think I'm going to make that into some sort of dress. And this I've got about 3 meters of, I think. It's really thin but stretchy, so I'm going to make it into t-shirts and that sort of thing. Here I have primarily my fat quarters and smaller scraps of fabric, so sort of 1 meter and less. All of those bits, some trims and that sort of thing in that box, and some, what's that called? That tubular stuff. It's like cuffing, is it? I don't know, something like that. Can't think of the word. Some snaps. All that good stuff. Ooh, look at this. I used to make hair bows for kids quite a lot. So that's all in there. Some wool. Some bits and pieces in this tissue box. I actually do find this tissue box to be really good storage. But this is all for like dog leads and that sort of thing. I think that's swimsuit liner. As you can see, it's just so random. And then this bottom drawer here, again, trims, wadding, toy stuffing, half-finished projects, my heated mitts from when I was a nail tech, a phone holder. It's not good. And then we've got all of this stuff up here. So I think this is my old nail kit. And then these 2 boxes here, I really need to work out what to do with them, but they're basically all hair bows and bandanas for dogs and hair clips, all of that sort of thing, from when I used to make them and sell them at craft stores. So yeah, I need to decide what to do with those. But oh, what an absolute mess. All my running medals up there. But yeah, absolute mess, and it's chaos and I can't stand it, so I need to do something. So yeah, I will catch up with you, see how I'm getting on. Okay, so little update. This gap here was where that shoe storage was that was falling apart. So I've taken that down. I've given it a little hoover down there because some dried mud had fallen off some of my shoes. I've scooched the chest of drawers over a little bit, but I've left enough of a gap for the new shoe storage that is arriving in a couple of days' time. But yeah, so that's all done. And then this room is definitely going to get worse before it gets better. It's one of those, isn't it? But these bags up here, I've just hung them up for now on some nails that were already in the wall. So I've just got some macrame thread and I've threaded it around the handle of each of them, which means I can take them off. I can take the little rope off whilst I've got the handbag, and then I can add them back up again. But yeah, that will do for now, and it's going to get my bags out of the way whilst I'm cleaning especially, and tidying everything else up so they're just not in the way. But yeah, I would like a different solution to hang them up on these little screws, but for now this will do, and I need to do the bags up, etc. But I also need to sort them out, make sure they're all empty whilst they're up there, but that's not exciting anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna crack on with this unit now. Up here, again, we had some random screws in the wall from where we used to have some pictures and bits hung up in here. So I've decided to make use of that and hang up my hats. I'm gonna spin you around again. But yeah, so we are still far from ideal, far from ideal at this point. It's still going to take me another couple of hours tonight to get anywhere near sort of presentable. This stuff on here is accumulated as I've been sorting bits out, but it's not particularly stuff that stays in here, so I will sort. That big black hat box there is what I will keep, and I might put it on top of this Calyx unit. I need to decide yet. But that's all of my vintage buttons and like vintage sewing bits. So pins, needles, yeah, buttons, as I say. So I've got all of those in there. I thought it just made sense to keep my vintage bits together. And my other buttons are in there as well. But yeah, oh gosh, it's one of those jobs that it always takes so long, but it will be worth it. Then we have my sewing patterns. So these were in one of the Calyx storage boxes. This was just in one box, all of these patterns. They were absolutely stuffed in there, and I'd only given myself enough space, like one box for all of my patterns, and it just clearly isn't enough because I'd just got to stuffing them back in. Bits aren't back in the right places. But yeah, so what I do with my patterns is I store them in here. This one hasn't even got a label on. They should all have labels on, and then I can flick through and I know what they are. So that's whether they're paper, PDF or self-drafted. They all go in those folders and should be labelled. So I need to sort through all of these, make sure I want to keep all of the ones that I've got, make sure that they all go into their folders and all the bits are in the right folders and that they're all stored back. And then I need to find a new system for this. Okay, so I'm done enough to give you a tour and finalise this video of reorganising. I'm gonna live with it for a few weeks, finish off organising some of the boxes, which I will show you which ones they are, and then catch up with you in a few weeks' time to let you know how I'm getting on. But for now... Okay, so this is what we are now looking at as we come into the room. So I'm going to start over here. This is my new shoe storage that I bought from Amazon. The link will be down below, and absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. Obviously it's a bit random that we've got the shoe storage in here, but as you would have seen, we had all the clothes in here before, and this is just the best place in the house for it. It's tucked out of the way. We don't have tons of shoes between myself and my other half, but yeah, it absolutely does the job, and it's really sturdy. It like pressure, oh, there's a spider up there. It pressure melts between the floor and the ceiling, so that it doesn't topple over, and I think that's fantastic. So moving on over here, the part that I really racked my brain about was how am I going to organise my sewing patterns. So when I got them out of the box that they were in, because they were just in one of these IKEA Kallax boxes, so that shows how much they can hold in them. I wasn't utilising what was in these boxes when they were in there like that, because I was having to rifle through every single time and I was forgetting what I had. So I bought these magazine holders from Amazon. You can get them in metal. These ones are cardboard, and I'm sure you can get them in plastic as well. But I ended up buying 2 packs. I think one was an 8-pack and one was a 3-pack. But I've then categorised it into categories that make sense to me. They won't necessarily make sense to everybody. You might have your own categories, but I've got in progress items, so part sewn stuff, jumpers and jackets. As you can see, I'm a bit thin on the ground on those. Vintage dresses, tops, bottoms, co-ord jumpsuits, and that does also include pyjamas, dresses, kids stuff, men's, non-clothing. So for me, that's things like hats, teddy bears, that sort of thing, and then a dog's one. And then I do have my sewing books on the side here. So my good old Tilly and the Buttons books, a book about home sewing and a book about kids' clothes. So yeah, that's all of my... Oh, tripping over. That's all of my sewing patterns up there. This is actually a heat pack, and these ones are as well, but I use them also for sewing patterns. In this box back there, I've got all of my buttons. Let me show you in there. Okay, so I've got my vintage bits. They're old needles, old hook and eye. All of my old buttons. I bought those as a job lot off of eBay, I think it was. Buttons that I've collected from packs along the way. And some vintage sewing pins. I should actually keep those out so that I use them. I'm going to pop those there for now. Let me throw all that back in. Okay, so they're back up there. I've got my handbags hanging on the wall. I think you might have heard in one of the previous videos, I'm not entirely happy with these bits of string that are holding them up, but for now they're practical, it works, they're out of the way. Coming down here, I've got my sewing machine on here, and my overlocker will come upstairs as well. It's just downstairs at the moment. My little sort of bits and bobs pots. This paperweight here I actually use as a sewing weight. I'm going to chuck that back up there. I've got spare storage boxes just in case I come along anything that I think needs to be in a box and maybe put in the windowsill or something like that. They are there. I've got some more space here for storage. So at the moment I've got some bobbins in there, elastic thread. All of your little bits and pieces that you use for sewing will go in there. Some labels. My trolley, I've done a full tour of that, and that was my previous video on YouTube, so I'll link that down in the description. I've got my sewing mannequin there. I've then got my fold down desk in here, so it's a relatively tight squeeze, but there is enough room, I think, and I've worked in here for sort of my day job as well. I worked in here, see how I got on, and I really enjoyed being in here. I can have the blinds open to the window, and it's lovely to be able to see out. This stand here I got from HomeSense and I've had it for absolutely ages. Only downside to it is it had a sticky label on it and the stickiness never came off, so that's really annoying. But I find that useful because I can have my cup of tea underneath. I usually put my iPad or something on top, and I've still got sort of the desk space. The windowsill is nice and clear at the moment, just a candle up there, but I'm sure I will begin to put stuff up there. That's a radiator cover that we've got in front of the windowsill, which makes it a much wider windowsill, and I love it. Got my old nail kit down there, so I can just access it if I go and do my mum's or my sister's nails. And then coming over to this wall is a little bit marked from stuff that we've had in here previously, so I will touch that up with paint at some point. But I actually have my dog's crates in here now. So this one here, I have a board on top. This is just temporary at the moment. I'll see how I get on with it, see if I want it to be another sort of work surface, and we can trim it down to make it a bit more narrow. But that's just on top of one of my dog's crates. Just gives me that extra bit of space. I wouldn't sew on top of that or anything like that, but it just gives me a space to maybe lay out my pattern instructions, that sort of thing, just on top of there. And then my other dog's crate with their sort of bits and pieces in the top there. My cutting mats are behind there at the moment, my rulers and that sort of thing, French curve. Not sure that I'll keep them there, but for now they're out of the way and it stops them falling over because those big mats do fall over. And then coming back to this Kallax unit, I have sorted it out and I have categorised it, but this is where I haven't actually organised within all of the boxes, but everything's in the right place and I know I have enough space in each box for it. I started labelling the boxes, which I find really useful, but then my label machine stopped working, so I need to have a look at that. It started being a bit strange, not doing the letters properly and then not cutting it. But yeah, so my fabric is up here. As I say, it's not organised, and something that I am going to do is look for an app or something where you can take pictures of your fabric, write down the information about it, how much you've got, that sort of thing, so I don't have to go through the box every single time. That's something that I actually do with my clothes as well. So I have an app where I can make a note of all of my clothes. I might even use the same app. I'll have a look at it. If I do, I'll let you know. But yeah, I do that with my clothes, and then I can just sit and plan my outfits for the next week without having to physically go through my wardrobe every single time. I just find it easier. Up here, this is my fabric ×2 box. This box is like offcut, so anything sort of less than 1 metre, that's in there, fat quarters, that sort of thing. In here, I didn't put that in there. That wasn't actually me. My other half must have put that in. That's not allowed in here. But no, this is all sort of interfacing, wadding, cotton that I'd use for toiles, that sort of thing. In here, this box is duvets and pillowcases, not ones that are necessarily, well, definitely not ones that I'm going to put back on the bed, but they're ones that I'm going to use to make clothes out of, so they deserve their own box. But again, I haven't even folded those into there. Oh, this is the trims box, so anything that's sort of ribbons, zips, trims, webbing, that sort of thing, that's all in there. That's definitely a box that I need to reorganise. This box is alterations and repairs. This I got from a charity shop and was going to gift it to a friend. Then I dyed it pink in the wash by accident, so I'm going to do something different with that. My nephew's backpack that I need to fix. My niece and nephew's memory blankets, so I might have filmed it before, I can't remember if I did or not, but because I make their memory blankets, then my sister will sort their clothes out, give me more clothes to add, and I have the blankets back. This warranted its own box for the time being. It's easy to change the label, but yeah, because it needs a home basically, so it's got its own dedicated box. These 4 boxes here are not mine, so I'm not going to go through them. This box down here is still stuff for postage and stationery, so envelopes, tissue paper, all that good stuff. A box that definitely hasn't been organised but needs to. This is jewellery making and clay stuff. I've also shoved some random bits and pieces in there. So yeah, I definitely need to just go through that and make it a bit neater, easier to access. I might do something like the jewellery and the clay stuff will each have a box each within there, so that I can just grab it out if I want to do one of those crafts. But that's something that I will work on. In here, I've got my wool and someone coming to have a little look. My wool and cross stitch stuff. So embroidery hoops, wool, my crochet hooks are in there, all of that sort of thing. This box here, I'm a little bit unsure as to what to do with. It's my Cricut. It's my Cricut stuff and my glue guns. But yeah, I can't actually find a place to... Let me put the lid on. I can't find a place to put it, so I need to look at that and find it a home, because it's not necessarily practical just being there. And then in here I've got my stuff for craft stalls. So if I go and do a craft stall, then I can literally just pull that box out and I'm ready to go. All of my stock's in there, my card machine, all of that sort of thing is all inside there. So that's it. I think I'm going to take some after pictures, and then I will put up the before and after. I think it's been quite a transformation. I think possibly apart from these magazine boxes up here, I don't think I've bought anything new for this room just as of yet. So I'm really pleased with that. It's been really affordable. It's now a functioning room. The dogs have got somewhere for their crates to go, because they often like to just come and chill with me whilst I'm sewing. They will come and lie down in the room with me. So I thought it made sense for them to have their beds in here. But yeah, I hope you like the room. Obviously it's not as big as everybody's sewing space, but I'm grateful to have a sewing space of my own. As I said also in my sewing desk video, I have that portable sewing desk, and realistically this space isn't massive, but I don't actually sit and sew in here an awful lot before, and I don't even think I still will now. I think I still will sort of take my sewing table downstairs and sew down there, because that's just where I like to be. But I have the option also of being up here if I want to. I've got access to everything on hand. So yeah, I've got all of the options now. I've either got my dedicated room or I've got my portable sewing table that I can take around the house with me, because no doubt I will do that. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed watching. Please excuse any mess that was in here before. I knew that I was about to reorganise it, so I just... You know when you just know you're about to change something, so you just think, oh, I'll just throw that down there for now, or I'll just throw that in that box for now, because you know you're about to reorganise it. Really toxic behaviour, but it's just the way it is. But yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, do like and comment. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because I do have a large percentage of people who come back and watch my videos, but they're not actually subscribed, but that would massively help. And yeah, otherwise I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.